Well, hello there. We're doing the podcast again, evidently. So thought I'd catch you up a little bit on what's happening here. I recorded an episode with Colton from Broken Bow, which is what this episode is, and I'm really excited about it. Couple issues though. I'm in Northern Idaho, and the internet stopped working yesterday, and so I had to pivot a little bit and ended up recording this podcast on my phone, which is fine, except for the fact that when I plugged this microphone into that phone, I didn't realize that it didn't work. So I'm going to apologize right now for the fact that my audio is terrible because it was recorded on my phone microphone. So there's that. And also, as a result of that, my battery was dying on the phone. So this interview is a little shorter than I would have expected or hoped for. And we're definitely going to be doing this again with Colton. I'm going to be doing the podcast more anyways. So hopefully that doesn't diminish the conversation. And Colton's also got some pretty cool news that he shares with us towards the end of this, which I was not expecting at all. And I think that a lot of you will be excited about as well. So stay tuned while I iron the bugs out over the next few weeks. But we're doing a podcast again.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. A year ago, we tried to do this. We did do it. And then I was super freaked out and weirded out about doing the podcast again. So I never posted the episode. And now you've convinced me to restart the podcast, and we're doing this again.
Is this the first episode you recorded since then?
Yep. Haven't done a single, and technically I didn't put that episode out, obviously. So no, I got super weirded out about the podcast, even though people reacted really well to it when I first started Code of the West. I've just been wigging myself out about it. And then I spiral into anxiety because the whole point of Code of the West is to do things that freak you out and scare you. And then here I am for like basically the past 4 years, or I say 3 of the past 4 years, being weirded out and freaked out and being pretty cowardly about doing the podcast. And I can't even tell you why. Like I other than the fact that like people seem to like it, and I just don't like being on camera. With Code of the West stuff.
I do a lot of stuff like that. It's weird where like, and I think it's something a part of art, like where you have a misguided, excuse me really quick. That was my little sister.
No worries.
Sorry about that. Perfect. Yeah. But like, I think I do that all the time with stuff. And I think it's just a function of, or like a really misguided thing that you do as an artist when like you're too particular, you're too curating with the stuff you do, and you just like spiral yourself into this corner when in reality, like you can do a bunch of stuff, way more than you think people care about. And
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, like, I get super nervous about the guru thing. That's what I don't want to fall into that category of, being like, not that there's plenty of people who have things to say that I'm glad they say them, but I just, I think I could be comfortable being like a Mr. Rogers figure. I just don't want to be like an Alex Hormozy or somebody, but not that there's anything wrong with Alex Hormozy. It's just like, I just don't want to be that
like
guy.
Him sometimes. Yeah, it's tough. And that's what I thought about. Like, I didn't even want to sell hats at first because I was like, people are going to think this is silly, or like I'm just trying to cash out. Cause like I was deep into the niche of like just posting drawings and like really old, like crazy stuff. And like I realized like if you do it right, and if you do it in a way that you care about and you think is very cool, it comes through and it has the ability to like work for you in the opposite direction a bunch, I think. And
100%. Well, I mean, and I think you and I have talked about this a little bit before. Like, I think in that last episode I never recorded, where, my experience has been around bigger brands and seeing people just get a platform just to sell stuff, which is fine. That I think and this is kind of maybe more like I wanted to sort of hear from you and kind of pick your brain about, and I think people would be interested to hear about is, I've been talking to people my age, people I worked with for like 4 or 5 years now, where I'm like, social media is changing. It should change. And then how brands are using e-commerce and, ads, that kind of like all like all the boring stuff. I find interesting, but like just strictly numbers, data driven sales online. And I've just been like, you got to bring stories back. Like you can't just be cool guy doing cool stuff. So I'm curious, and this is really like, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot here, but like, I kind of want to hear what's happened in the past year since we talked. I've been following along, obviously. But I am personally really interested in your perspective on this and I hope this doesn't come off as like diminishing in any way, how young you are, like, and like what.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like, because I think it's kind of cool that people, because I talk about you quite a bit with people, and I'm like, yeah, you should talk to Colton, over at Broken Bow, and they're like, oh, okay, and then they'll be like, who is this guy? Like, I don't really see him on there. I'm like, yeah, he's like 20, 21, and they're like, what? So I think
19.
in some ways, I think you could argue that I love it. I love the fact that you're like half my age and just killing it. But I imagine that you probably have to deal with some interesting challenges with how old you are. And I'm just really interested in your perspective. I don't want to say generational, but like just being your age, the tools that are at your disposal, and like how the world is changing. Lay it out for me.
I mean, at the moment, if we're talking about like challenges and stuff like that, I truly think most of the time I don't have that many barriers, because like by the time I talk to somebody on the phone, they've already seen a lot of the stuff. And like in the past year, like I've like really worked hard to get like some good stuff under my belt, like where like you can point to it and be like, well, hey, it doesn't matter that I'm 19, or like I was 18 most of last year.
So you're not even 20
They
yet.
don't care. Yeah, no, I'm not. I can't buy a beer.
Oh, I love it.
Smoke cigarettes. Not the best person to run an Outlaw country page. Now that I think about it, but yeah, we've shifted more towards holier Christianity and stuff like that. But it's still very much outlaw Western country music. But it is pretty funny. And like there, like if you get on phone calls with like managers of like big bands or people that want to invest in stuff or trying to get you to do something, that's when I get into some like people can like throw you around a bit or like blow off your calls. And sometimes like if they're bad people, exploit how little I know about stuff, which it has happened. It sucks, but it's truly balancing like all the advantages you have as a young person where you know a lot about social media, whereas a lot of other people that are really smart just don't know because of experience, and balancing the fact that like I don't know how to do most basic accounting functions or like most basic operations of a business because I've done it for a year, and there's still stuff that can come up where it's like, yep, that's $10,000-$20,000 out the window. So it's a complete balancing act between those two. For the most part, people are very kind though. I think they almost like to see, like you said, that it's a young person. So it works out. It works out in my favor and against me quite a bit.
So, I mean, like, I think people misconstrue every younger generation. Like every generation that comes, every generation's like, oh, the young people, they're not working as hard. They're not doing X, Y, and Z. Like, do you, are you an anomaly, you think? Or do you think that there's more people like do you feel like you're an alien, or do you feel like there's more people your age that are doing stuff like this?
Like there's a weird thing that happens throughout history where, like you say, like people are like, man, it's the younger generation, and it's the fact that like we have selective memory of the people that represent whole generations, because my guess is that it's about the same in terms of like exceptional people that do stuff that is like very cool and memorable. And when you look back at it, like you look back at the 70s or the 60s, the 80s, whatever it is, you remember the good people and you're like, this must have been everybody. This must have been the whole thing. When really, like, it was not. And a lot of those people, like you hear, get made fun of. And until decades later, when stuff happens and things prove them right and they get all the way up there to the top of their game. And I truly kind of just think that's how it is now too. I think that like it's rare to be blessed with like something that God gives you that is worth sharing, and even rarer to have like the volition and the courage to go out and do it and hang it out there. So it's always just a rare thing throughout history.
I agree.
I don't think it's of my own doing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm
bit,
tuning into a radio station with what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously, man, I'm trying to find a way to not frame everything like back in my day. But like when,
well, no, that's a good dynamic to have, because we've got a big gap that helps to bring it towards the middle.
Well, I mean, what's interesting to me when I look at where you're at and society's at this point in time, and like what I was trying to do with comics, and at the time so when I was 20, I was, learning how to be a Starbucks store manager, and then trying to draw comics in my free time, and social media was where things like AI are right now, where it's like people, like some people understand it. There's plenty of people who are like trying to come in and be like, I know everything. And it's way too early to like have an informed opinion about anything. And so I was just always, this is also like when the like cloud tools and digital tools were starting to like become, a thing that were accessible. Cause I mean, like, if you were going to do like desktop publishing in 2003 or 4, like when I graduated high school, you were still having to pay like $1,000 for like an Adobe Creative Suite. You weren't buying like a cloud subscription. It was like $1,000 to get Photoshop and Illustrator, and none of that stuff was intuitive. and so like I leveraged the heck out of that moment in time, and social media, I don't think was actually better at that point. It was just like the Wild West. I'd say
still
you
is.
and me both.
In the
Go
grand
ahead.
scale of stuff, it still definitely is in the grand scale of things. Very much so.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think the weird thing about it is that people my age who have like done okay with it have just not adapted it at all. Like I treat like Instagram in particular as like a medium, where, it's like if I'm writing a play, that's a different, it's still storytelling, but it's a different environment. Same with like if I wrote a TV script or if I was writing a comic book, still storytelling, just different medium. And I view Instagram and social media, hell, even the podcast to some degree, like, assuming that I keep doing it now, as just like an outlet. But whereas I think most people in their mid 30s to 40s just view it as like a vector to just sell something at this point.
Yeah, well, and that's what's taught in schools too about it. Like,
really,
with the very, very limited. Oh yeah, like I took a social media marketing class in high school, like because it's diffused down to that point enough, but like there's still just such a little. It's kind of like when they had like computer class, like at your high school or mom's high school. It's like
they learn how to
computer. Yeah, and it's just so rudimentary still. And in terms of like other industries, like software, like just normal computer industries or industry, finance, it's so underdeveloped and so much like the Wild West, like you said, that like if you have the volition to go do so, then you really can just like make your own way a lot easier than you could in stuff where it's already been glutted and like there's walls set up around it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, because when I was starting out, like I did a lot of video stuff too, and this is like right when the like digital video tools were becoming accessible and not super expensive, and actually like did something. And a lot of the conversations I was having with friends who were like actually in like in the indie film scene, for instance, were like, the walls are coming down, like everything's being democratized, like, the gatekeepers getting pushed out. And it's like, well, it became a different group of gatekeepers with at a different gate, and exactly. I feel like at the end of the day, to kind of like the generational thing, the other thing is that like everybody will just eventually agree on what's good enough, and then just kind of like establish that as the median, and then that becomes a gate. And so if you want to get into the average version of something, like you could become, I'm sure we could both probably go get jobs as social media managers, whatever that job is, based on what we've done with our respective brands. But like, to me, that's like, I don't know, that's like trying to like hire myself out as like a rain dancer or something, like, where it's like, yeah, I can change the weather, like, at best I could like tell someone like, here's what's happened this week, and here's maybe what we could try. But I actually honestly don't really pay a lot of attention to trends. I know what works, like in terms of the gimmicks and stuff, and how you can like get a bunch of engagement off of being really divisive, and that will boost you in the algorithm and people will pay attention. But I don't like that. And I have to believe that audiences are getting smart now. Like, and I think that's the byproduct of the AI stuff too, to some degree, where it's like now like the cat's out of the bag and people are finally sort of recognizing that, hey, maybe I don't want all my data everywhere. And maybe I don't want to be manipulated by an algorithm constantly.
Very much. I mean, well, I think people just get smarter. Like the longer stuff is around and people get used to stuff, they start to see through the tricks. Like even as a mass, as a whole, they get a feel for it. And my kind of like my 1-to-1 for it is magazines, as far as I can tell, and the way that those really used to operate with like the Rolling Stone and Time. Time is still a very big magazine, but not like it used to be in Life and whatnot. And same with newspapers. Most Instagram accounts and feeds function that same way, where if you have an account, you have a magazine, essentially. You have a newspaper that people kind of subscribe to, but they subscribe to it with their attention, and like it'll stop getting sent to them if they stop engaging with your stuff. That's why you can't just post products all the time. Like you post an issue, something with a cover that people want to read, and they see your little profile pic up in the top and they know it's going to be good and stuff like that. And that's what most people just don't realize. And like it has created just all this mass confusion. And like you said, like people that just sell stuff with products, when it's really kind of a beautiful medium that you can express to people. And it's democratized in the sense that like you don't need a few $1 million to go start a magazine company, if even, and you can just do it and you can just build it up if you have the volume.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think that brings you back to what you were saying about, in answering my question, are you an alien amongst your generation? It's like, I think a lot of it is just having the courage to just jump in and fail and try.
Mm-hmm. I have not gone on a lot of dates over the past year too. That's
and we talked about this off camera a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 2 girlfriends later, and we got a pretty
welcome to the cost of doing business, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks too. You think people like support your dreams while you're going through it, but
oh man, like not to tangent, but it's like everybody's different, so don't get me wrong. Like, but this is something I've always been confused about, and I like to think that there's someone out there for everybody, and so I'm still keeping my fingers crossed. But usually, in my experience, the thing that is attractive to people, and not even just romantically, it's like people are like, oh man, Colton's doing stuff. Like you remember Colton? Like, yeah, he's got this like 1 million follower like brand. He's Broken Bow, and people like want to be around that. They want to like get some of that magic that they think is going to like rub off on them in some way. And then they get really upset when they realize that there's no magic and it's just you slaving away in a room for like 14 hours a day.
Yeah. It's just like it all makes sense after a bit, and they're like, "Oh, it's because you don't do anything else."
It's because you have no life.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you're on some next level stuff. I mean, I was trying to find the post, and maybe it was a story, but you shared a picture of like moving all the boxes into a U-Haul storage area or something.
Yeah,
like, you have to send it to me, and I'll try to like put it into this episode because that was like a moment for me where I was like, good job. Mm-hmm. Like, cause I mean that, like, talk about that. Cause I mean, like, you alluded to it already. You've lost some money. Or a better way of putting that is you've spent some money to learn some important lessons in the past couple of years.
Yeah. So we've been fortunate to make good living, especially for like a young person. But like, there's been a lot of costly mistakes. And from that in particular, like just moving into a warehouse, like you just learn that there's never ever a time where you take on a whole new responsibility or cost where you're like, I'm ready for this, or like, yeah, of course we should get a warehouse. This is a great idea. It's like it's always there's never an instance where you're shipping a warehouse amount of stuff through a basement. You always just have to like kind of take some little leap of faith and be like, yeah, we're going to get it because I think we're going to scale up because I'm going to need it by that point that we do. And it's terrifying. And that's what we did. And thus far, like we're still just trying to push up and scale and get enough people in and show them what we do and kind of the story behind it so that Broken Bow can like, get to them or get to their little shop with wholesale, whatever it is. And it's just forcing yourself to figure it out, like throwing yourself in the deep end.
So doing it, I mean, like, do you, it's funny. Cause like, I'm thinking of like moments like that I've had, but I'm also remembering like times at Black Rifle, like where things were happening. And it's like, there were certain periods of time at Black Rifle where it was like every day it was like, we'll just figure it out. Like, we're just going to go for it. But it wasn't my money, like it wasn't, if I failed, I was going to be uncomfortable,
It's not
like,
my money either. I took a loan out too. So
you did.
And that's even scarier.
Oh man. I mean, cause like my thing, and this is part of the reason why I really respect you for a lot of reasons, but like, I was almost like for me, Code of the West was almost like not a game, but I put $1,000 into the beginning and I was like, I'm going to see what I can do with $1,000. And just try to not take outside money and just try to be careful and just scale it up. I will say I would say responsible as that is at times, it doesn't create this sort of like make or break mentality that I think is really handy. Like it wasn't until I got laid off from my real job after Black Rifle that I was like, okay, I got to make this work somehow.
Yeah. Cause I mean, well, and like that, like I've messed up stuff with Outlaw too. And like, I think we'll get it repaid, in fairly short order too. But it's like, you order too much of something that you didn't know was going to go out of season. You have a lot of it. Now you got to like find some way to move it. And like, we're balancing it day to day. And
well, those are the things that you'll learn over time. Like, I mean, and you'll eventually probably hire someone to do that stuff too. I mean, because like I didn't really know the ins and outs of that stuff until I was at Black Rifle and working with like a product team and knowing that like, there's certain, even just the inventory that you have to hold on to has tax implications into the next year. Like there's like habits and weird trends that you don't know about until like you're in it. Like how far ahead do you have to plan? Or should you plan? Yeah, I mean, that's I think that people that get older, like part of the reason why they don't do stuff is that like we have all the reasons for why we know something won't work. Whereas like when you're 18, you're like, I don't know, like YOLO, to borrow a phrase from my youth.
The biggest advantage I've had up to this point is like being so unknowledgeable about this and like frankly kind of like stupid or arrogant at times that like I did stuff that if I knew what I know now or if I like had any bit of sense or even thought over it then I would have been like, no, I'm not doing that. That's a terrible idea. And
but that's, I mean, that's, I don't know who you follow, like mentor or like who you view as like sort of like mentor figures as you study business, but like, that's just how it is. I mean, like you can go to business school, you can have all the quote unquote right people around you. And it's not until like you land flat on your ass a few times that like you really start to know what you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I was going to go to business school and I was going to.
Yeah, I remember you told me that.
I was very fortunate to get into the top marketing school, like for the country or for the US, top marketing school for the US at Michigan. And it was great. I was so excited about it. And then like a month rolled by and we got an opportunity to sell part of the business and come onto a partnership with another person who had all these big connections. And I just like, and they were great people for the time being. That didn't work out, but it spurred me to like just drop out of that college and like throw it all to the wind and figure out how to do it. And knowing now, if I'd known if I knew at the time just a little bit into the future of that not working out or that not panning out, I would have just gone to college, and I would not have done what I did. Truly.
Yeah, I mean, that's, it's funny. Like, I think one of my biggest lessons that has carried through, whether I was freelancing, as an illustrator or doing comics, or even especially with Code of the West, by the time I got to Code of the West, is that I am so chill about the crazy opportunities now because I've seen so many of them disappear. Like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, like I've had crazy stuff. Like when Carver came out, that graphic novel that I did in 2016, I had like an agent who was talking to 20th Century Fox, and it was real. Like it was like a real conversation. I'm sitting here, I'm like, this is crazy. And I think most people would, I bet you more than you realize, you probably have already taken this lesson to heart. Where I don't know if this is going to make sense to you yet, but like kind of like with the girlfriend thing. I'm serious though. Like I don't talk about most of the stuff that is happening because it's so ridiculous.
No, yeah.
And it's like, part of it is like, yeah, it's probably like, it's not even a coin toss. It's usually like, I would say 1 out of 10 times it's not going to work out, even to continue the conversation. But then there's just like absurd stuff, like, which I don't really like. I feel like I'm bragging but like there's times where I want to be like, yo, The Rock just left a comment, like, like, or something like that, where it's like, what? But there's like no one to really go talk to, like, and be like, hey, this is crazy, right? Because everybody's going to go, yeah, it's crazy. Like, why are you telling me?
That's what that was a really hard learned lesson. Cause like I was I wouldn't say resentful at all, but like I did this all throughout high school, or like it started junior year, and spent a lot of time like just doing drawings and stuff that's not very conducive to like, going out and having a lot of fun.
Education and having fun.
Yeah. And like the first time I had anything, or like I had any big person follow, or like had any opportunity, I was like, yeah, I want to show it to everybody, because like they made fun of this or whatnot, and like you find out that people just, like, don't really care all that much, and it's like win or lose, like people either make fun of you or they feel bad about like their things, or they flat out just don't care,
or they'll actually even relish like your failures at times too.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that is when if you can get past that and start doing it for what you want to do and your legitimate, like, deepest motivations, that is kind of what separates you from being just like an amateur or like very juvenile about it.
You think you're there now?
I bet there's probably a lot of messed up things that still like linger around in my head.
They will. I mean, trust me, it's probably good to keep some slight chip on your shoulder, at times too. Like, I mean, it took me a long time to like be okay with me. I like, don't get me wrong, I like being me, but for a long time I was always like, why can't I just be normal? Like, why can't I just want to get like a job at a factory, or be a truck driver, or be a contractor like my stepdad, and just like do it normal? And I've tried to wear my human suit at times, but I'm just not wired that way. And it used to frustrate me. And then I just kind of just started embracing it. And, that's, I mean, that was probably like in my mid 30s, which is funny because I've always been like a lone wolf. Yeah. There's a difference. But I mean, like, I would have said that like, because I was always taking risks. I was doing weird stuff, but like, it was only after the fact that I realized, like, I was just faking it before I made it, like, in a lot of ways. And it wasn't until I really had been dragged across broken glass enough times behind a bus that ran over me, that I was just like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that I'm me. Like, I'm pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And I really, like, it would have been a disaster if I went to college, because I really, like, I'm good at a few select things, but like, and like, I think I'm a decently smart guy, but like, I'm very slow in a lot of regards, like really nearly handicapped in some ways. And
didn't
like,
use the hard R word on that one.
No. We're trying to keep it
Keep it PG.
More benign on this one.
Don't want to get canceled. Yeah, please don't get canceled on my first podcast back.
Yeah, get the whole thing taken down.
Yeah,
no, but it's just like a complete realization that like, man, I can't do a lot of this like corporate stuff or functions where like you kind of just have to stay along a certain path. There are people that are really good at that and like do a lot of other cool stuff, but I can't do it, and it doesn't work out at all.
I can't do it, but I'm really glad I did do it. If that makes sense at all.
Well, yeah, because you have to force yourself.
And it's like balance yourself out somewhere. And I mean, and it might get to the point where like Broken Bow never got it. I hope it doesn't get to this point, but like you might have to like make some hard decisions and go like sweep some floors somewhere or something at some point just to keep it going. Probably not. Let's be real, but like.
Well, and like that's a very real thing. Like at the beginning was like, I really, really did not want to do any accounting at all. But it was the whole other part of the story is that my buddy who I've been friends with since like 6th grade, he dropped out of college with me completely. Because
good origin story.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, we didn't go to the same one, but I was like, man, I really need somebody to help me here because like, I'm not good at a lot of these things. I know you are. He was going for material sciences, like in textile engineering. So he's a very, very smart logistical and like technical mind. And I was like, hey, like I need help. Like I will give you a portion of this thing if you just come on very early. And about a year ago, he did, like nearly a year, like the February 22nd of last year. And like we got it going. And even that, I had to like sit down with him and we're both going over accounting or these things that we've never done before in an actual business and just doing literally everything, whether it's good or bad, like whether we're completely messing it up. And it like a very small percentage of the fun things that we were good at or that like I'm good at with drawing. It's almost disheartening, but like,
well, but I think it's good that you're doing that though. I mean, like I've worked around a lot of different founders and like grand poobah people in these different brands. And I think that there's a lot to be said for jumping into something and just learning on the fly. But there's often times though, this like, and maybe it's confirmation bias. I don't know, where it's like, you're like, well, I did good enough. Like I scaled the business to this point. Therefore I know as much as I need to know. And it's like, yeah, there's always more to learn. Like, and I think it's like, you can't just do the fun stuff. I mean, that's just a fact of life. And yeah, like when you are making your own hours and you're making your own business, in theory, like you can control what's going on. But like if you're responsible, it basically means that you're choosing to do the not fun things as they come up.
Well, yeah, it's like literally all the worst stuff comes back to you, which like none of the fun things. Like sometimes when like big opportunities come through, you get to take credit or like talk to some really cool person on the phone, which is like which has happened a few times, and like that's been like that makes it all worth it to me in my head, just because it's like awesome and a dream. But the rest of it, it's like, dude, like we got to go pack orders now. Like,
yeah,
these are not gonna get out.
Well, I think that's the thing too. I had to realize is that like as cool as those conversations could be, they don't pay the bills. You know, like or they don't pack the boxes.
The best thing ever was like, do you know Evan Felker from like the Turnpike Troubadours?
I mean, I know who that is, but I've never talked to him.
Oh, well, I mean, like I never had either. And it was wild to have somebody who like in the car every day for the preceding like 4 years, like that I listened to the music of and like heard his voice all the time and his writing, like call me on the phone and ask me like do something for him. And he's like, hey man, like I love your drawings, or like, do you want to do this? Do you want to get this opportunity? And like it's like an alien experience, something I would have thought was like, my life is set from here on.
Yeah, it's like crack too, because it's like, it's like they keep stacking up over time. You know, by the time you're 40, it's almost like people who have like that adrenaline addiction, where it's like it goes from being like I'm gonna drive fast to being like I'm gonna jump out of an airplane without a parachute, like you know, like just because I gotta feel something.
Then life goes back to normal, and it's like you realize it's just how much you want to keep it organized and keep moving. But that in particular was like, he was one of the nicest people I've talked to, like,
That's
in
great.
this business in particular, and that was probably the
Yeah, I
greatest
had
opportunity I've
early on in the
did.
social media landscape, like I had the guy that whose comics made me want to draw comics when I was a kid, and then you know, short version of that story is I was able to like get a hold of him through Flickr, and then he became a mentor, and like he's like my big brother now. Um, and but he was my hero, like hero of heroes, and so like in a way it was good. For one, I met my hero, and he wasn't an asshole, which is not always
Mhm.
the case. And two, it's like, well, if I've like met Zeus to the top of Mount Olympus, like everybody else is kind of like more. I can kind of like keep myself in check more. Um, so in addition to Broken Bow Country, uh, there's the other page too, right? The music page.
Yes, yeah, Broken Records is a project we've been working on in all the free time that we've got and all the extra money we've got to film with people.
Because like you were saying,
And that's
you're working with the Troubadours, and like you did something with Whiskey
Mhm.
Myers too, didn't you? Or am I making that up?
Yes,
Like,
that was our first, like, major thing that we ever did. We I think we kinda just saw that, like, or I say we, it was mostly me. It was only me for a lot of
you
the
and your other
beginning.
employee, you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, back when I started that other account. And I realized since we did this stuff with music, like, well, hey, we can probably start to, like, bring up some other artists that, like, we think relate to, like, this sound and these red dirt sounds and these genres of traditional, like, bluegrass and honky-tonk music, and kind of platform them. And it's worked out pretty well in all the times that we've gotten to film with good people who people know are authentic. You can tell it
Right.
in their voice, and the talent is just, like, shining through right there. But who don't have a platform for some reason, or, like, can't promote themselves in the right way. And that's not all of them. I don't wanna make that sound like everybody
No,
that
no, I
comes
know
on
what you
is,
mean
like,
though. I mean,
super
it's like
raw.
it's like it's rising tides raises all ships.
Absolutely, yeah. And we film with them and just try to give them a spot on the page consistently where, like, people know, like, this is the music we like at Broken Bow. This is the type of music we want to promote, the sort of
So
values
are you going to
around it,
do
the whole
something
life.
like in person then? Like, are you going to have like an actual venue at some point, or like what's the deal?
Well, the biggest thing we've gotten is that we've got an opportunity here in Denver to kind of work and start a actual Western dance hall, and that is going to be the place where it's kind of an epicenter for everything that the page is and the whole style of it and how it looks and feels, and most importantly, the music that's around it, the music that plays in it, and we're going to play some of the, like, authentic people, as many authentic people as we can get to just come through there and have it be
So
like
is this an existing place, or are you
home
built
for all
like
these
you're building it right now, or what's going on?
Well, it's a great venue by Coors Field, and it's kind of like this hangar with a wooden ceiling type of very industrial space. But I mean, we're building it out with wood paneling and, like, all the cool stuff that I've kind of found over the years, like looking through old books and, like, stores that we've, like, gone out to buy and put up in there and decorate it just like a true kind of, like, old Texas or Wyoming honky tonk.
When is this?
And
When are you opening this place up? Because I want to come down. I want to come down for the opening.
oh yeah, no, you're welcome to. This is April 4th that's
April
happening.
4th.
We're gonna have, yeah, full setup.
Like, is there a place that like I can park out back and sleep in the back of my truck at night after
Yeah,
I come?
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's one of those type of places too.
Okay, because I mean, I basically have my truck set up. Like I say, basically, my truck is set up for like when I go to like the brandings and stuff. Like I can just like sleep in the back of the truck, like and because I'm up for a road trip. That's gonna be a long ass drive to Colorado
Mhm.
from Northern Idaho, but uh April 4th.
What-
I mean, I'm. Let me know if that changes, because like I'm gonna want to. I would love to be there for that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're gonna have hopefully just a great opening act for it, and I've been talking to some people that we really love and have been featured on Broken Bar, people we've done artwork with, and I I can't think of, like, anything that's more of a privilege or a blessing than opening it, because it's just the most logical thing we could do with the music we like and kind of that whole aesthetic.
Well, it's something that I struggle with
it
and stress out about with Code of the West too, is that like I want a physical place, or at least I want to like find a way to anchor it in reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like you said, I think social media does not have to be a dumpster fire. It's our choice as to how we run our little corners of it, but it's not the same as like showing up somewhere. Like, and I'm just already like in my mind being like, oh man, like who's just gonna show up at this? You know, like especially, I mean, are you just gonna say like, come one, come all, if you can make it to Colorado, like we're having an opening, or like what's the deal here?
Pretty much, yeah. Like it's been a great thing because my dad works in restaurants, and he is like that has been his thing for the past few years now, and they were gonna open a bar, a Western bar, like a honky-tonk normal one, and he hears about this stuff all the time at dinner because I live in his house, and I ran a shipping station out of his basement for the past year and destroyed all the basement floors. And I think he realized, he's like, hey, we put your name on this, like I think this might be the best like place to base this off of aesthetics wise. And I just like got my wheels turning on it and realized that like it's incredible because we'll have a place to sell clothing out of and the actual goods that we make in person, and just have it be like a place that you would see in like the 1970s or something, where it's
like Gillies or something.
Yeah, exactly. And a place in the like sea of just like clubs and kind of terrible, like I like a lot of the places in Denver, and we have great places like the Grizzly Rose in Colorado, but in the sea of just like people that want to follow like modern trends of like clubs or buildings, it would hopefully stick out. Like,
well, here's the other thing. I'm just thinking about what you're talking, like you can't even go to these other places. Like you're not old enough. Yeah, probably. No, I can't. So how's your like, I feel like we're gonna have to do a whole nother episode just about this place that you're opening, but like, real quick though, like, is it an all ages venue then, or like what's the like how like who can show up? It will be on
some nights. It'll be some like because we'll do family nights, and I'm lucky enough to have people involved that this is what they do, where they manage a whole bar or a whole venue essentially for music, and that'll be conducted like where you have family nights where everybody's welcome in, and it's a family style place, and then there's just like dance nights, dance hall. There's line dancing, circle, just normal. What do you call it at the Broken Spoke? I forget what it's called, but just normal two-stepping.
Oh, like cowboy cha-cha and like two-step and like country swing as well. Like, which I've actually been learning how to do, and I'm not terrible at. But no, I mean, like, I'm I know I'm just some dude on the other side of the Instagram account, but like for what it's worth, like I'm so proud of what you're doing, man. Like it's just so cool and inspiring.
You saw last year. You've seen it for a long time of a lot of embarrassing failures and stuff. And
well, we've talked about some stuff. But I mean, I will say this, from the outside looking in, I don't think most people would even clock that. You know, like, I mean, I think that
I don't think they do, which is a good thing. So
yeah, we're going to always be harder on ourselves than anybody else, which I think is part of the reason why, having not even like met you in person, but and just talk, like I think the first time I talked to you, I was like, yep, I like this guy. Yeah, I love being inspired by what you're doing. Like, and it makes
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. And I really mean it. Like, it's just, I feel like I would understand how some people would be like, you know, this kid is just running circles around me and be disrupted or discouraged by it. I'm like, this kid's running circles around me. It's great. Like, it makes me want to be better. It makes me want to like try harder. And then, you know, and like get out of my head more. Like I said, when you get old,
and there's failures I certainly have not told you or
sure, I get it.
About. And
crazy. Yeah, you're gonna have more. You're gonna have some, because here's the thing, everything just scales up. So like you're gonna get a handle on the little stuff, and then like you're gonna have some like somebody like The Rock shows up or somebody, and it's just like, hey, if you can put in $1 million, then we can have Planet Hollywood, but for Gillies or whatever it is. And you're like, all right, I got $1 million and $1 million and $1. Like, and then you throw it in, and it's like, that might be it. You might be sweeping floors, somewhere for a little bit while you recuperate. But like, it's just how it goes, man.
It is. It's a long, strange trip, man. Never ends.
Well, we'll have to do this. We'll have to do this again. Like, I'm going to post this like tomorrow. I'm going to edit this when we're done, so that I don't sit here and going like, I don't know if I'm going to post it. Like I have been for the past year. I'm gonna chop this thing up and send it out. And I'll show it to you before it goes wide. Man, let's do this again.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and talking about like as it comes up, the venue stuff, like hopefully to just show people what it's about. Like I just want to show people that like, it's not a place that you really gotta like kind of step around, or that's gonna be like super. I have no clue how to say it, but it's hopefully nothing like some like Nashville club where it's just a mess. Like
it might be like what a Nashville club used to be. I mean, like, but it's not. And I was just in Nashville a few months ago. Like, yeah. Well, Colton, it's been a pleasure. I will talk to you soon again. And just keep on keeping on. Like in the meantime, keep inspiring old dogs like me to do better.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll try to keep it between the lines so I don't crash and
keep
burn
it between the ditches.
Destroy the whole company or something. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you, man.
I'll see you next time.
Okay.